New patch notes dropped yesterday, so today we're going to be taking a look and a read through all the new essences for all classes. Let's go.
So normally with these videos, I only ever talk through wizard essences, but I know there's a lot of you guys that watch my videos that do not play wizards, so I thought today I would actually talk through all legendary items for all classes. I'm aware some people don't actually watch my videos, they just listen while they're playing the game or driving or on their commute on the train, that sort of thing. So I thought I'd make this video for you guys and just talk through all the new legendary items coming out for Diablo Immortal with Paragon 900. So these legendary items can only be obtained in Inferno difficulty 7 and higher, so bear that in mind. So starting off we have Barbarian. We've got a Solemn Crown Helm. Wrath of the Berserker also increases your attack speed by 10%. The Bronze Berm Chest. Whirlwind now makes you immune to knockback, slow, chill, and immobilizing effects while it remains channeled. Now, they've been doing quite a lot with Whirlwind for Barbarian, I've noticed, so I'm guessing they're trying to make this a skill that is more beneficial in PvP, because this one, obviously, that would work really well in PvP, and the last Whirlwind essences for Barbarians seemed similar to that as well. Pleasant Force Shoulder. Leap now applies a bleed to all nearby enemies where you land. Crashing Longship Pants. Leap also reduces enemy movement speed by 35% and prevents the use of dash skills for 3 seconds. Reel of Katas Main Hand. Whirlwind now restores energy and increases your attack speed after hitting an enemy suffering from a bleed. Blood Caesar Offhand. Wrath of the Berserker now throws you into Bloody Rage, increasing the damage you deal to bleeding enemies while also granting you increased movement speed for each bleeding enemy nearby. So a lot of these essences for Barbarian actually look like they go hand in hand and have been well thought out. Next up we have Blood Knight. Forger's Death Mask Helm. Whirling Strike also increases your damage done by 3% for 2 seconds for each enemy hit, stacking up to a maximum of 15%. That's quite a lot. Normally it's like 10% for other classes, so nice one there for Blood Knight. Moonwraith Chest. Shroud of Night now empowers you for a short while, causing you to conjure a shadowy apparition to attack nearby enemies when you take damage. Anchored Agony Shoulder. Abomination no longer consumes anger and instead continually consumes your life in order to damage and slow nearby enemies, but you also heal yourself for the damage you deal. No longer consumes anger and instead continually consumes your life in order to damage, but you also heal yourself for the damage you deal. Okay, so you're kind of like sacrificing your life, but you'll get life back when you deal damage. Interesting one there. Twin Omens Pants. Abomination gains an additional skill, Crimson Claw. Crimson Claw unleashes an abominable claw in a targeted direction that damages all enemies within its path and pulls them back to you. Additionally, enemies hit by Crimson Claw are unable to use dash skills for a short time. Maul and Response Main Hand. Whirling Strike now causes you to counterattack, damaging all nearby enemies when you take damage. Additionally, you heal yourself for a portion of the damage done. Grimhound Offhand. While Abomination is active, the longer you remain near the enemy, the more damage you deal to them, up to maximum damage increase of 20%. So some nice looking essences there for Blood Knight as well. Crusader Rigid Skullcap Helm. Fist of the Heavens now causes your primary attacks to emit lightning, damaging nearby enemies. Okay, so that will work nicely with the new set. Sanctimonious Sign Chest. Shield Charge also increase your primary attack speed by 20% for 3 seconds or up to a maximum of 10 attacks. Blasphemer's Folly Shoulder. Falling Sword also shatters enemy armor, increasing the damage they take by 4% for 2 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 16%. Luminous Respite Pants. Shield Charge now rushes a targeted enemy, knocking back all other surrounding enemies and channeling your target to a duel. During the duel, you take reduced damage from other enemies you are not dueling with, and participants can only use primary attacks, but they are also immune to loss of control and knockback effects. Slaying your foe during the duel increases your damage done for a short while. Sorry, the random number in the middle of participants there. Participants with the number 44 in the middle of it. Okay, that's great translation there. Anyway, next essence. Ashes of Conviction Main Hand. Falling Sword now empowers you with a heavy sword for a short time, replacing your primary attack with one that does large sweeping strikes, stacking Holy Flame upon enemies that deals additional damage. and Justica's more offhand. Punish also causes enemies to deal 15% reduced damage for 1 second. So I mean, Crusaders are already pretty good in PvP. Some of these essences could be even stronger for them in PvP, so it'll be interesting to see those in game. Demon Hunter, Unhindered Repercussions Helm. When knockback shot knockbacks an enemy, your damage done is increased by 5% for 3 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 15%. Okay, that's going to be pretty strong again in PvP. Unblemished Hide Chest. Knockback shot now fires multiple piercing blasts in a target direction, damaging and knocking back enemies. Calamicious Escape Shoulder. Escape now dashes to a targeted location, damaging and knocking back enemies within your path. Enemies hit also have their armor shattered, increasing the damage you deal to them. Chaps of the Acrobat Pants. Escape can now be used while suffering from a total loss of control and knockback effects, making you immune to their effects for 0.5 seconds. So the cooldown, the immunity on that isn't very long, 0.5 seconds, but being able to escape from a total loss of control and knockback effect is insane. That's going to be really powerful for Demon Hunter. Contagious Misery Main Hand. Impale now throws a fan of knives around you, embedding them into the flesh of nearby enemies. When an enemy is knocked back, the embedded knives will be dislodged, sending them in random directions. And Weeping Wounds Offhand. Impale's damage is increased by 8% each time it strikes the same enemy, up to a maximum of 24%. Moving on, we have Monk. Burning Praise Helm. Inner Sanctuary now places a calming field that slows enemies and causes your dash skills to trigger a harmonic resonance, dealing damage to enemies within the area. Arla Kachast. Flying Dragon now makes you immune to knockback effects and repeatedly charges forward, damaging enemies within your path. Calming Burden Shoulder. Breath of Heaven also reduces your damage taken by 10% for 3 seconds. Mend Floor Pants. Breath of Heaven can now be used while suffering total loss of control and grants you an absorb shield that also removes all harmful effects. Your dash skills also grant you an absorb shield that can stack. Persistent Courage Main Hand. Deadly Reach increases your primary attack speed by 8% for 1 second, stacking up to a maximum of 24%. And lastly, Up and Over Offhand. When Flying Dragon deals damage 3 times, you explode with energy, dealing damage to nearby enemies, knocking them up. Cannot occur more often than once every 5 seconds on the same target. You know, reading through these essences, it makes you realize how little resistance and protection and armor, etc. Wizard has compared to all of these classes. There's so many things that actually helps other classes survive, and Wizard literally has nothing at all. Next up, we have Necromancer, Hair of the Priestess Helm. Bone Spikes now conjures a bed of spikes that are target location that continually damages enemies within the area and prevents them from using dash skills. Enemies knocked back within the area will take additional damage and be stunned. Open Shell Chest. Dark Curse also shatters enemy armor, increasing the damage they take by 10% for 3 seconds. Cannot occur on the same target more often than once every 6 seconds. Ancient One's Bite Shoulder. Bone Spike's cooldown is reduced by 0.2 seconds for each enemy hit, 0.4 seconds for players, up to a maximum of 1.2 seconds. Fetid Fold Pants. Dark Curse now places a seal at a targeted location, dealing damage and slowing enemies within the area. After a short delay, the seal erupts, damaging and reducing the vision of enemies within the area. Corpse Splitter Main Hand. When Bone Spirits damages the same target 3 times within 2 seconds, it silences them, preventing the use of skills for 2 seconds. Cannot silence the same target more often than once every 6 seconds. And Keep Leak's Tribute Offhand. Bone Spirits now conjures a fog filled with wraiths. Let's try that again. Bone Spirits now conjures a fog filled with wraiths to attack enemies in a targeted location. Wraiths continually rush through the fog, damaging and knocking back enemies they hit. So although Necromancer is having a nerf on one of their essences and skills, this totally makes up for it. I mean, Necromancer is already really strong in PvP. We've spoken about this before. And these essences are pretty good, I would say, for Necromancer. A lot of potential there, especially in PvP. Next up, we have Tempest. Scowling Jetty Helm. Cascade now slams your edges into the ground, damaging nearby enemies and causing geishas to erupt beneath their feet, knocking them up. I don't know if this is right. Let's read this again. Cascade now slams your edges to the ground, damaging nearby enemies and causing geishas to erupt beneath their feet, knocking them up. But feet is spelt incorrectly there, so that's I was confused. Let's try the next one. Shining Undertow Chest. Cascade's critical hit chance is increased by 20% against enemies below 50% life. Mandate of Chrysantha Shoulders. Berserk Breaker also grants you the shield that absorbs damage and makes you immune to the next loss control effect you would suffer. Hesitant Shore Pants. Breaker now conjures a Zephyr at your current location and then causes you to rush forward in a targeted direction, increasing your damage done. Using Breaker again, exiting the area or letting the effect expire returns you to your original location. Screaming Gale Main Hand. Squall now causes you to spin your edges, pulling in nearby enemies, damaging and marking them. After a few seconds, the marks erupt, dealing additional damage equal to a percentage of the damage you deal to them while they were marked. And Whispering Breeze Offhand. When wind edge damages an enemy below 50% life, its rush cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. Now, again, a lot of these essences look like they have a lot of potential for PvP. I still feel like Tempest is really strong in PvP personally. Their attacks are super fast and they're also strong in PvE still as well. I don't feel that Tempest is going to get nerfed until Druid drops in game, but these new essences also have quite a lot of potential, I would say, for people still playing Tempest. And lastly, I'll read through the wizard essences once again. So Crown of Frozen Tears, Helm. Scorch now hurls multiple frigid spheres of ice at an enemy, and if they hit a frozen enemy, the spheres shatter, dealing additional damage to nearby enemies. Nepu's Raiment Chest. Frostfield now conjures a blizzard that follows enemies, continuously damaging and chilling those caught within the storm. Enemies that remain within the storm for too long will become frozen. Torchbearer's Pride Shoulder. Scorch now increases your movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds after hitting an enemy. Windscarred Nomad Pants. Frostfield range is increased by 20%. Chisel of the Architect Main Hand. Arcane Wind now unleashes an icy cyclone in a targeted direction that explodes on contact with enemy or upon reaching its final destination. This icy explosion damages and chills nearby enemies, freezing those that were already chilled. And Cracking Rhyme Offhand. Electrocute also causes chilled enemies to explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies and chilling them for 3 seconds. Can only trigger once every second on the same target. So I still feel really disappointed with the wizard essences. I feel like I'm kind of tired of the freeze builds for wizards, especially when there's so much potential with shock, especially when we have this new set coming out for shock. I personally expected to see more shock skills for all the classes. It seems that there's only that one shock skill, lightning skill for Crusader. The rest of us do not have that. And I think there's a lot of potential that could have happened there if they'd actually done that. So yeah, that is all the essences for all the new classes. Let me know which class you're playing and which essences you're most excited about for your class from this, if any at all. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.
Official Diablo Partner.